Alright. Chat. Hello? No, it's... no. Alright, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Alright, let's get this game started. Greetings, wanderers. Tonight, we have more Silent Hill F's in chat. Let's get this game started. Jump straight into it. Now, I played this a little bit last night. Against my better judgment. I was up late. I played for a couple... Steam says 111 minutes on the dot. So almost 2 hours, but I am looking forward to playing it some more. Good morning. Well, we've seen this last night. Okay, so... Hinako. We continue the adventures of Hinako. We'll jump straight into this. Now, the poppin'. Last time we were chased by the fog monsters. The fog that plagues Silent Hill has attacked Hinako's hometown of Ebisugaoka. I'm probably saying that wrong, but Ebisugaoka. One of our friends was killed by these. I was learning that these are called red spire lilies, which have a symbolism of death, is my understanding. What does it say? It's eerie not seeing anyone. Oh, that's right. You can repair in this game, right? What's the repair button? Oh, nice. Okay, so it's a little over halfway of durability. Where are we going? So if I go this way, that's danger. But if I go that way, that's north. But I'm supposed to follow Shu? Is that his name? Shu? Let's go this way, I suppose. This town is freaky. There's nobody around. Letter or something. Now that I'm armed, I can actually fight back. Fucking focusing. While using focus with L2, your sanity will slowly deplete while your gauge fills up. Your max sanity will decrease if you're attacked while using focus. And action difficulties other than story. Ah, so there's actually a downside to using this. Higher risk. Once your focus gauge is full, use R1 to perform a focus attack. So what's the focus gauge? It's a circle. Okay. Your current max sanity will decrease, but you will unleash a devastating attack that varies with each weapon. Okay, so hold focus, build gauge, melee attack. You can use items such as Ramune and Divine Water, or you visit Hokora and choose Clear Mind to restore your current max sanity. Chosen story is your action. I have not, so that doesn't matter to me. So I can try it on this thing. Shit, now I kind of want to run back and check out that other direction. This is where Shu is. Oh, god damn. That's huge. The enemies don't drop items either. Curious, very curious. So, if this game is like other Silent Hills, there's some exploration. The town is technically free roam, right? But there may not be a whole lot to find other than items, which, given the type of game this is, assets are always valuable. So let's explore a little bit. We're gonna go out the beaten path a little bit. Run back to Shu. I'm mostly looking for items. Oh goodness, okay. Spanked! Right on your ass. Oh shit. She's not happy with that, is she? Okay, she's dead. There's another one, right? Just this way. So they have 3 stabs that I can counter. I'm being followed by something else. I just realized they all have different hairstyles too. I wonder if that's significant. Now, typically monsters in Silent Hill. How do I put this? They're more oh, I should probably be aware of my Higashi. The assortment of small fruit flavored candies that melt in your mouth fully restores stamina and prevents stamina consumption for a set period of time. Can also be used as an offering. I'm gonna say it, Zarkzik. I'm gonna say it. Fully restores stamina and prevents stamina consumption. Oh, okay. So this is actually. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Shoulder bag, lightweight. Oh, aha! This is good that I explored. More inventory space is always good. I can actually... So I have an extra slot, okay. Now, if I could get repairs for my weapon, that would be nice. Boy, okay. This pipe is about to break. Do I have that knife? I do not, okay. Come here, bitch! Ugh. And another one, I'm gonna spank you! Ugh. Oh, shit. Okay, I got my extra one. Always keep a spare. Oh, she got a bunch. Okay, she got it. So this is where I was initially. I want another oh. Another pipe. Another doll's coming. Bitsuti. Alright, bitch. Ah, so she does have a counter frame. Ah, I fucking missed it. Oh, and I paid the price for that too. You bitch. God damn. Well, at least I could use an item. Okay, I can use damage taken while dodging. I can actually take this now. Seems I'll be switching through these Omamori. I got 3 bandages, 8 capsules, 1 first aid kit. Kudzuti. That might actually be the play here. Okay, this is a little weird to go through those. I'm just gonna do it manually. Kudzuti. Oh, that is Kudzuti. Okay, cool. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so that is a good regen. Bandages, always good. Want these assets before I continue. I don't even know where I'm supposed to go, really. Is it a ladder? Is that what I saw? Oh, no, that's a... Okay, that's a constructions. Okay, I see. Having a little issue reading the map. Oh, you crazy bitch. Come on. Gotcha! counter, 1 heavy. Kills those things. More flower lilies. Okay, this way is where I was going earlier. To follow Shu. Not that way. Curious. 1 second. We're gonna go in a big circle here. Because there's 1 street I didn't check. It was here, no? Yeah, right here. Luckily I have 2 pipes, so. But I think I'm just gonna run past these things. The monsters don't drop items, so. Name: Suzutani Mayumi. Last seen wearing white blouse, long navy skirt, beige neckerchief with black polka dots. Details have disappeared. The rest has been torn off. It's torn. It's locked. I believe Sakuko's parents. She was the priest's daughter, right? I suppose I can look in the journal. Journal, characters, Sakuko. Dead. Her father's the head priest of the Senensugi shrine in town. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Ah! Holy shit. Uh oh. Just gonna squeeze through here. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? There's another one? Don't stab me. Don't fucking stab me. Don't stab me. Oh, I saw that! You tried, bitch. I want items. Now, much like in older Resident Evils, someone with the truck. Chocolate. A new imported candy that has been increasing in popularity. We're a treat for local children. Slightly restores current max sanity, and sanity will not be consumed when using focus for a set time. Can be used as an offering. Oh, so that's like a buff. Oh shit. Okay. I don't want to lose any of these. Shit, this sucks. I suppose the fizzy drink, I should... Yeah, fizzy drink's gonna be the... Okay, fuck it. Oh, maybe I could just not pick it up, right? Nah, I'm gonna pick it up. Thank you for the tubes, Arctic, I need it. I need as many weapons as I can carry against this shit. In old Resident Evils and Silent Hills, a good idea is to not attack the mooks here and just run through them. And that still holds up today, 30 years later. Protect us. We'll do my darndest. I am the frontliner. A frail anime girl with a weapon, yeah. This says something. My understanding is that when Resident Evil 9 comes out, they actually purposely made the protagonist girl a coward. She's supposed to be very afraid of everything. I'm wondering if that's going to change up the gameplay a little bit, because Resident Evil for a long time has taken on a more action aspect over survival horror. Which means I will be helpless against the monsters in 9. Now we can continue. I should have saved, but fuck it. I do what I want. Okay, this is the flower area, but... I don't remember where Shu went. I know he went down the street, I just don't... He's telling that monster's not around. I wonder if there's like danger zones. Every game should have darkest dungeon stress systems, yeah. I feel like that's actually happening. The sanity meters are like coming back. I remember in... Oh shit, what's that series? It's either Alone in the Dark or it's a Clock Tower. But they had a sanity meter in that game too, and when it broke, your character freaked the fuck out and you like started sprinting. Like tripping over shit. I imagine Resident Evil 9 is supposed to have something similar because, well, first off, they already said that there's going to be different mechanics depending whether you play in first person or in third person. And in third person... Toolkit. Ah, fuck, not again. I'll come back for this. In third person, your character will trip and fall on the ground. And I think the monster moves faster. They have like a stalker like Mr. X shit following you around in that game. To head back and catch a wish. Okay, so I'm supposed to go back here later. Can I actually... Oh. Dried carcass. The animal carcass has been properly packaged as an offering. Gives off a vague odor. They're bitching suck at FPS, so I'll be locked in third person. Yeah. It's okay. I'll play it. It's a frog. I left the frog there. Ah! Holy shit! Fuck, man. Just fucking standing there, just fucking waiting. Fucking bitch monsters, man. Holy shit. Okay, there is a monster there. But the monster's not dropping shit. There's not a whole lot of reason to kill all of them. Need to be aware of assets. Okay. Let me sell some shit. But do I want to sell some shit? I wish there was a stash. That would have been nice, but... Shit. I hope there's not like a boss killing charm. Restores health. Okay, I don't want to get rid of that. Greatly restores health. Okay. Fully restores max sanity. Okay. Chocolate is kind of weak. No, it's not. Sanity's not consumed. These are all good. This sucks. Okay, I'm just gonna save and continue. The lack of stash is gonna fuck me. Lots of pills. Where the fuck did Shu go? Okay, so that's a dead end. I probably have to go up and around, huh? Let me, yonder. I wonder. Oh, it's right there. Okay, yeah, up here. Another safe shrine. Perfect. No fast travel though, huh? Oh, slots are limited. I'm at that. Okay, so... Well, I'll just cycle through. I'll just start over at the top and go back down. Ready. Ooh. What? With the hold? Okay. Use those anime girl muscles. There we go. Sickle. Well-maintained tool for cutting grass. It's easy to use, but I have some doubts about how long it'll last. Ah, weapon? It's a weapon. Okay. I can use up one of my pipes at least. I'm so glad that... that was a main complaint I had about Chronos. was that your weapons were always in your inventory. And also at a weapon slot. Oh, cutscene. In this game, there's dedicated weapon slots. They don't take up space in your inventory. You know, I made an X post for this shit and I didn't fucking post it. Oops. That's quite the flinch she had there. Typically that means someone's the victim of abuse. Given her drunk father's state, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Space Wars. This is a game that Shu and I played together when we were kids. Basically, aliens, known as the Galactic Imperium, arrive in UFOs and droves, and we would fight them to protect the town. Playmates would come and go. We called them new recruits and fallen ones respectively, and in the end, Shu and I were the only ones left standing to combat the Galactic Imperium. She really cherished her childhood with Shu, huh? I mean, I suppose technically she still is a child. Given that they're high school students. Pills. Okay, so there's a main road and there's the fields. I suppose we'll check out the fields. Oh, Jesus, okay. And I'm stuck to these roads, huh? I'm stuck to these little roads. Gotcha, gotcha. Chocolate. The scarecrows are coming. The scarecrow walks at midnight. Come on, bitch. I fucking missed. Okay. It's dead. Is there more? Did it drop anything? Nah, they never drop shit. Okay, I have reason to use some of these items now at least. At the very least, this game does shit a lot of items on you, so you don't have to fucking hoard shit. So far, I think Chronos was more difficult in terms of juggling your assets around. First aid kit. Fuck, man. Okay. Let me use something. I'll start using bandages, I suppose. At least I only took up one quick slot. It was nice. You get 1 hour for 5 hours of gameplay, yeah. Yeah, this game is a lot more forgiving so far with the items. There's like nothing I want to surrender for this. This sucks, dude. First aid kit. Yo, Doom Guide with the raid. Did you finish that comment writer? I was watching earlier, but I didn't wanna start too soon. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Silent Hill F. F's in chat. Got pranked by Bandai. The Doom guy with all of his skeletons. Unfortunately, there's only one of me. I am lacking a party right now, other than Zarksic. I already told him I'd frontline too, which sucks. But I appreciate the raid. Oh shit, Ninja with the fucking 5 subscriptions. God damn, man. Holy shit. Check out those gift subs. A raid and gift subs in the same night. That was not on my bingo card for the day. Holy goddamn, man. Yeah, let me get the was it / the shouts outs to the Doom guide. The Doom guide. I need a proper what do you call it? A proper setup from my streamer bot for shoutouts. Be sure to check out the Doom guide if you already haven't. We're usually in each other's streams anyway, so chances are you already know what the Doom guide is. Like Joker is missing parts, so to get a new kit or something. Sorry, different common writer. Like Joker's missing parts? Really? Holy shit. I'm assuming those were like critical parts too. Yeah, you couldn't actually finish the model. But yes, welcome Raiders. I'm called Survivor by most. And as you can see, I am a swordman, but the swordman has no sword. And it is swordman, not swordsman. Normally I only have the one sword, but due to an egregious mistranslation, I am just a swordman. We found out usually, so I swapped the common writer 0. Oh, okay, I see. I'll have to check out your VOD later too. Like, cause I like seeing that shit. I saw you when you were working on the Fang Joker. Also, appreciate the tube. So it's like, now I have something to arm myself with. The chick in this game has a pipe. Me, I got a cardboard tube. I'm a real YouTuber, you see. A real boy. A strong and handsome. Sorry, emphasis on the handsome. But yeah, if you haven't checked, if you're new to my stream, usually I just play I play a lot of RPGs. That's my thing. I fucking love RPGs. Old, new, it don't matter. Old especially, I think. And I play a lot of horror games too. I fucking love horror games. I love getting scared and screaming like a little bitch. Old man RPGs, yeah, that's right. They're good, man. I don't know what it is. Like, I remember playing the Wizardry remake last year, and it changed me. Like, it rearranged my neurons completely and utterly. And I was like, holy shit, Wizardry is fucking awesome. And now my Steam account is full of dungeon crawlers. And it will take a very long time to get to all of them, but I just had to have them, you know? I had to hoard them like a fucking dragon. Just beat Liza P. I've heard good things about Liza P. I've heard that like it's like the Souls-like to go through. And I haven't touched it. I've never played it. It looks good though. I think when it came out, I wasn't feeling like the Pinocchio like aesthetic or whatever. Another 5 gift subs. Holy shit, the Doom Guide! My goodness! What a generous lich. Look, you made 89 happy. He's dancing. If it's an ASCII, is at some point I'm wasting years on it. Me and you both. Just bought Liza P. Thought about streaming, still need to be Wukong to stream. Oh yeah, for sure. Wukong is fucking awesome, dude. I also did not beat that game, but I fucking love Wukong. Journey to the West is a very meaty read. But it's got kind of like a Monster of the Week aspect to it, I guess, in an episodic kind of way. But Journey to the West it's a very good read, and Black Mint Wukong is fucking phenomenal. Liza P is great. Okay, so yeah, so Liza P is the way to Liza P is definitely the game to check out then, is what I'm getting. I love Souls Likes too. I played AI Limit earlier this year. I had a lot of fun with that. I'm looking forward to FromSoft announced a new project, if my information is correct. I'm looking forward to see what they got next in store. Survivor is tolerable. That's a good way to describe me. I would be offended, but I agree with you. Armored Core 7 would be sick, dude. I haven't played 6, but 6 looks so good. I already played Armored Core as a kid. I used to play multiplayer versus on PS1 back in the day. Road to the Void, Cooking and Seating. Armor Core 6. I wonder if they will make a Sekiro 2. Wouldn't that be sick? Or even a Bloodborne. Well, I guess they're doing like a Bloodborne kind of game on Switch, right? I can't remember what that game's called. But Sekiro 2 would be fucking phenomenal. That would be a game to play. I played the absolute shit out of Armored Core 2. I played the first. That was the main one I played, was 1. I have Armored Core 6. I hardly play it, so now you gotta stream it. Let me know. I'm gonna sit in on that shit, man. Sekiro 2 would be so awesome. Yeah, it would. You know, I sat on that game too for like 4 years. I played it like a few months after it came out, and then I got filtered by the butterfly. And at the time, you know, busy with shit and all that, I quit the game and never picked it up until 4 years later in the middle of COVID, the COVID lockdowns. And then I played it. I finally got through that game front to back. Demon of Hatred still haunts me in my dreams. Deeply missing out. I have too much backlink. You mean both? Sekiro 2 would be amazing. I had Bloodborne 2 to play. You just have a heart attack. Imagine they announced both at the same time. Shit, man. That'd be fucking sick. I love Sekiro. I love it so much. Just exploring. Something about Sekiro. Sekiro had that verticality too, you know, that they didn't really expand upon until Elden Ring. The vertical aspect was so cool, and added a lot to the set pieces they used for that game. Maybe I'll do a Sekiro run sometime. I got the true ending in that game. You help like the Dragon Kid or whatever. But I would love to see the bad ending, the Ashura ending. I'll survive he had a skill sheet until he did. Dude guy like nagged me like all for fucking ever since that game came out. He's like, you gotta play it, you gotta play it, you gotta play it. I'm like, I'll play it. But I never did play it until I played it. And then I beat it and I was like, Doom Guide, I'm sorry I ever doubted you. Bloodborne 2 and Sekiro 2 are the same into the connected world. Wouldn't that be the weirdest fucking FromSoft shit they would ever pull? You got like fucking gothic Victorian England, and then you have like fucking Japan. Demon Japan. Just fusing together. That would be fucked, and I would play the shit out of it. Letter to home. I no longer recognize my husband. He gets blackout drunk most days, and when he's drunk, he turns violent. I don't think I can keep on living this way, not with his cruelty day after day after day. Where did the kind man I met when our marriage was being arranged go? My eldest child is only 3 years old, and I have another growing inside me. Life is too hard to keep living, but I'm forbidden to die. Mom, Dad, I've always done as you asked, no matter what it was. This will be my first and last selfish act. Please, forgive me. That's literally just a game, Neo. That's right, yeah, Neo. I never beat Neo 1, but I played a lot of Neo 2 with some others, Doom Guy included. Neo's a lot of fun. Neo frightens me though. The amount of shit you can do with Neo 2 specifically, with all the weapons and the demon forms and the fucking like the stance switching, it frightened me. It scared me. What was successful at archer and armor. Sekiro Warriors Gothic Stealth 7 goes, the Britain doesn't sound that far gone. You know what's sick? You're a Nobunaga in Samurai Warriors. He's got like the full ass Dracula plate armor with the big ass cape and the collar. That's like my favorite fucking depiction of him ever. I will marry Neo too. Good lord. Oh my goodness, what the fuck was that? Ah! Oh! Careful, careful, careful. Speaking of Neo, this game's combat reminds me of like Neo or Sekiro. They get like these frames where you can like hit him with a preemptive strike and knock him down. It's the timing, man. It's that like the timing. Okay, so I can't take this, but I have a shit ton of items, so what I made in Samurai Warriors, yeah. I like the Sonata Bros. In Samurai Warriors. But mostly because I liked Zhao Yun in Dynasty Warriors. I also like Cao Cao in Dynasty Warriors. The key time specifically, yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Was it key pulse or whatever the fuck? I got 2 on me, this sucks, but I'm gonna get hit. Better. Okay. So, you actually get a... Holy shit. You get a focus strike here. Boom! There we go. Let's hit him with one of those. Actually, I fucked up my focus strike. This seems like hard. But with Hidako's rejection of the female role in this era of Japan, I suppose the dolls are representative of something that nags at her, as is typical for Silent Hill games. Dried carcass, another fucking offering. I have like no space, man. I need to use shit. That's why you can like hot. Here we go. Still not enough. I'm about to lose my pipe too, this sucks. Your strong Japanese schoolgirl don't need no healing. Like I was saying earlier, one of the common aspects you find in these kinds of games, especially this is like even going back to like PS1 days, like old Resident Evil and old Silent Hills. Fighting everything is often a bad idea. Especially like these basic enemies. The settings and visuals are very well done. They are, as is the music is fucking phenomenal too. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. This is not good. Things did not look good for the fourth survivor. Grabbed by enemies. You will not be able to free yourself when enemies grassly successfully grab you. When grabbed by an enemy, your health and sanity will drop significantly. Be sure to stay aware of your surroundings. If you have chosen story as your difficulty, I have not. I'm playing a hard mode, man. Oh, thank you for the redeem. You pixelate. Now I'm 1984 survivor. Let's just turn sideways. They can't hit you when you're a pixel. I want these items. No items? I've been fooled. Oh, this could be bad. This could be bad. This could be bad. Oh, they walked past. He's old now. I'm older than I already am. Imagine pixelating in Dark Souls every 2 hitbox. That would be so fucked, and I would laugh so hard. You see like this pixelate, this like like an 8-bit monster just kind of, I don't know, sliding towards you. You know, like the fucking Moon Knights from Aqua Teen. Legend of Ebisugaoka's monster, Ayakakashi. Long ago, there was a sighting of a scarecrow monster known as Ayakakashi here in Ebisugaoka. It appeared one sweltering summer day deep within the crop fields, dancing a most peculiar of dances like a ripple of hot air. People warned not to let one's gaze settle for too long upon its bizarre figure or try to get close to Ayakakashi, for it will chase any who do to the ends of the earth before taking to life. Is it an SCP? One that gets mad when you look at his face. Just a eye going at you menacingly. None can escape the quad laser. There is no use trying to jump. Oh, I'm not fighting this shit. Excuse me, ladies. Oh, I hear them, but I'm not looking. I'm assuming I have to go that way, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna grab this. Oh my goodness! Well, that's not good, is it? I should kill that one, but there's 2 of them. Oh my god. No, 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 no! This is the best tactic. Run away. But not into a dead end. Oh my fuck. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's 3 of them. I'm not fighting that shit. Are you fucking insane? Let's go to that. Right away. Oh my god! Oh, what the fuck? Oh, that hurts! Holy shit! She stabbed me. She stabbed my shoulder. Help! Help! Help me! Disgusting. Ew. Might be poisonous. Look at this shit. The flowers are turning into tumors. What is with they? I dealt with enough tumors in fucking Kronos. And now they're back to haunt me. Holy shit. Simply Sekiro parry them. I'll definitely try. Skill issue. Red capsules. Okay, let's fucking heal. I should be using my items more, but I always hoard shit in these games. Okay, I'm gonna replace this. There we go. A fresh pipe. Okay, come on now. I need a key. Is there a key? Toolkit. That's the other thing that sucks. Okay. I'm gonna replace... what do I want to replace? I'm gonna replace one of these Yokons with a toolkit. I think it's important that I have at least one on me at all times. Ooh. Buckler Chaos Digger, very good. Hey, don't make fun of the Buckler. The Buckler is the strongest shield in any of those games. I say as a Buckler main. Oh, what the fuck? Holy shit! What is that thing? Oh, that's a big knife. What the hell is that thing? Yeah. Oh, he's very big. Oh my goodness, okay. Does he have the key? Oh my goodness, okay. Oh, that hurt! Okay. He just bandage up. Oh, the scream hurts too? My mental. He's fucking with my mental. I like how he's just standing there now, I can wail him. That's why, just stand there. Oh! That almost fucking killed me. Does he have him? He has a prey with him. Charge up, charge up, charge up! Ow! Oh, that has hyper. That has hyper arm. Die! 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 Oh my goodness! Oh! I'm fucking dead! Oh. It's so over. Silent Hill's version of Mom from Binding of Isaac. I haven't played that. I'm ashamed to say. I know what it is, but I've never played it. Oh, nice. Appreciate the follow. Salamendius. Am I reading that right? Okay, so let's replace my pipe. Yo, I hit my my follower. Cool. 489. He's so overwhelmed. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for the follows. That was amazing. Okay, let's get rid of this. We did it, Chad. We're so back. Okay, so let's try this again. Over to tools. We're gonna skip. Alright. Nothing to it but to do. I probably should have healed up, but. Oh, he's got a stretchy arm. Okay, so I'm going insane. What item increases my sanity? Divine water restores current max sanity. Reduce sanity. Okay, that'll be nice. Let's drink some of this divine water. Oh fuck yeah! And boom! Spank his butt. Let's keep spanking him. Spank. I'm out of stamina. Spank. Oh. Oh, you can't fucking... Okay, that one you can't parry. He's a little hard to see, you know? Ooh, that perfect dodge. Oh, I bounced off his knife. Okay. That is... Oh, boy. Come here. Okay, okay. I'm gonna heal. Just in case, because he is... He's got his stretchy arm. Yeah, okay. Get him, Hinako. I can't. That's right. You can't fucking... Oh. With the big hit. Oh, he's already dead. He's actually a lot squishier than I thought he was. This was some courage. Am I cracked? Was it that skate game, that fucking AI on your character's phone said that unironically? The game actually, it's not as, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it looked initially. After seeing some other people play it, some skilled players play that game. A budding flower, there's nothing budding about that thing. He's getting back up! Round 2! Did that. Oh my god, you're fucking kidding me. Okay, alright. Alright, big boy. Round 2. My pipe is about to break, but that's fine. This one you can't. There we go. I have no sanity. Sucks. Make another... I dodged that on purpose, by the way. Another divide body. Ooh, the perfect dodge. Look at these pro gamer moves. And by that, I mean he's about to kick my ass. To get this up. Why is it slowing down? There we go. That still hit me? What the fuck? I don't like how the camera like forces itself to look down. Just gonna... Yep, there it is. Perfect dodge. Just lay down. Oh, that could have been really bad. Ah, fuck. Sickle. I'm gonna back scratch him to death. A little bit more. Oh, I didn't get hyper for that, did I? Okay. I have a medkit at least. He can bounce off his knife, man. Okay, he's down for the count. He's dead, right? Okay, yeah, he's fucking... It must be timed. Okay, is this like fucking Chronos where they get back up? Storehouse key. Okay, now I can get into that building. I don't want to fight this thing anymore. I want these items, so there's items for Mune. Some fizzy drink. Okay, there's something else over here, right? The capsules, first aid. Okay, big boy's back up, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. Please, please go in. Please. Okay. Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster. Move it, I'll move your little ass. Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay. This here is Shu. Your best bud.
純子さんに頼まれたんだ。何があってもお前を守れってな。
お姉ちゃんが？
ずいぶん前の話さ。さあ、行こうぜ。
He's taking this very well. He's gonna get smoked, yeah. It's not a Silent Hill game without some traumatizing loss, you know? Okay, so let's not follow Shu just yet. Off the beaten path. only stuff laying around. Maybe not here. Yo, death marks. Welcome to the party, man. Appreciate the follow. Is there an item here? Inari sushi. A traditional dish made of sushi rice stuffed inside seasoned deep-fried tofu skins. It has a soft, juicy texture, said to be Inari-sama's favorite type of offering. Sushi rice out of deep-fried tofu skins, huh? Thanks to the subby. Restores health, stamina, and current max settings. Also used as an offering. Cool. Item is always nice. I need more inventory slots. That's the other thing in these games. If there's a way to increase inventory slots, find them. Find them as soon as you can. Go. Any items? Nada. But we do have a safe spot. My faith. I'm a faithless worm, but I'm going to offer this to him. The Inari. Nice. Given how much I got my ass kicked, I'm going to save the other stuff. 500 to draw another memory. Okay. Get some sanity back. Pray. Pray. Alright, we'll start from the top now. The limited slots is kind of annoying, but, you know. What can you do? I just cycled through them. Trust the creepy fox guy, it's alright. Fox mask will leave us. Lead us. Leave us. Sorry, misspoke there. Emma. A wooden plaque. Place it back in a Hakora after writing your wishes. Using the Hakora to upgrade Hanako's. Oh! There's skill ups in this game? Foxes are always to be trusted, yeah. Seems like a common aspect in myth across the world. If there's a fox involved, well, some fucky's going on, isn't it? You use a blank Eba and Fate to create a Hokuro and increase your max health, stamina, and sanity. You can also increase the number of Omamori you can equip at the same time. Okay, cool. So... Pray. HP up, sanity up, stamina up. Increase Omamori... Ooh. Increase Omamori slots. That is a lot of faith that I do not have, though. I'm a faithless worm. Shit. And I have shit to, offer. Okay, I can't actively get... Well, maybe I can... Give him some chocolate. Give him the kudzu tea. I might regret this later. 400. Oh, shit. Is that... It's 500 for upgrade, isn't it? Yeah, okay. I'll give him one of the Higashis, the candies. Here we go. So I'm mostly interested in... Actually, these are all really good. Stamina's gonna help in combat a lot. Health like makes me last longer. Sanity. Increase health. Increase limit for sanity. That would let me focus more. I'm gonna go with stamina. I figure if I don't get hit, then this will pay out the most, right? Go ahead and save. Now I say that, but you just watch that big thing beat my ass for 8 minutes, so. Shoo. He's got a bat. I want a bat. This is one of those games where they cap the cutscenes at 30 FPS. It looks a little weird.
幼い頃この辺りで迷ってワンワン泣いた記憶がある。
お前が泣くとこが想像できないぜ。
もうずいぶん長いこと泣いた記憶がない。
お前は何でも我慢して 心に溜め込む悪い癖があるからな。春にはメダカやオタマジャクシ捕まえたっけ。水が気持ちよかったな。ほら。
He's taking this all very well.
田んぼで遊んで泥だらけに
A
な
little
って
too well, if you ask me.
怒られたこともあったっけ。
こんな状況なのに懐かしい思い出ばかり思い出す。
今ではどれも懐かしいな。辛くなったらいつでも泣けよ。俺が絶対に相談に乗ってやるからな。
ありがとう相棒。
よし行こうぜ。霧が深いな。リンコのやつ無事だといいんだが。
And he's gone. Fucking Silent Hill fogs always do this shit. Or he's getting warped once again. Journal updated, so getting lost. There was this one time where I played hide and seek with a bunch of my friends when I was young. I got so excited and ran far away because I didn't want anyone to find me. And eventually got lost around here. I was sobbing and hollering and walked the wrong way for hours. Actually, I was told later that it was the exact opposite direction of my house. Even a town as small as this felt huge for me as a kid. I realized that I knew nothing about the town. Even these fields seemed to spread out endlessly into the horizon. If it weren't obvious, Hinako has some major... Oh, I have no map. That's good. Oh, shit. Okay. Hinako has some major issues. We learned earlier, or last time, that, oh, shit. Her father's a drunk. Beats her. Beats her mom. Mysterious. No, I love the art in this game. Me too. The art's really good, especially in her diaries. The field that's all misty is really scary. I keep thinking someone's there, but it's always just a scarecrow with a creepy face. But there's one scarecrow that's not actually scary. The only reason it's making a scary face is because it's got a thorn sticking into it and it's hurt. So all you have to do is take the thorn out, and it'll tell you which way to go. But don't get close to the really scary scarecrows. Someone said there's a monster who's only pretending to be a scarecrow that likes eating little kids.
トゲを抜いて
Remove the thorns.
どういう意味？
This doll shows up too. This is Hinako's doll from her childhood. He keeps showing up to give her hints. Can you even imagine how I feel? I'll put on my polite smile for now. Boy. Field. A puzzle, huh? Okay. And a sickle. Nice. So I got 2 sickles. And my trusty handy dandy pipe. Now, I'm assuming these are the scary scarecrows. I'm supposed to pull a thorn out of one? Is that what I saw? Is that the sickles? There's a face on the back of her head. I'll put on my polite smile for now, huh? Is that the polite smile? This shit's gonna fucking jump, isn't it? There's the thorn. Oh, okay. I suppose that was not a polite smile. Oh, he attacks fast. She attacks fast. Look at this. No, that shit moves when... I heard that move. That shit moves when I look away from it? Yeah, it fucking does. Holy shit, that scarecrow came back. My polite smile, huh? We got fucking weeping angels in the fucking fields? This sucks, dude. I don't like this. That is not smiling, so I'm assuming that's not the scarecrow. It's not smiling either. This one's smiling. He's got two faces though. And you never trust a person with two faces. Okay. Let's this one. Is she smiling? I can't tell, man. Okay, this. It fucking moves when I'm inspecting too. Oh my god. No, no. Does it say wear a smile? That's a good question. Can you even imagine how I feel? I'll put on my polite smile for now. Polite smile. The faceless scarecrow. Come here. Yeah, I knew you were gonna do that. Come here. Oh, you can't fucking parry that. Okay. Let me heal first. Oh my god damn, she fucking hurts. This sucks. Okay. Charging, charging, charging. Okay. It's dead at least. Okay, which one has a smile on it, on its the back of its head then? That one's smiling. Maybe this one? Of course not. Why would it be? Fucking dex weapons, man. I have to wonder because there's a difficulty slider for not slider but option for the puzzles in this game. I have to wonder if it makes this puzzle harder because this puzzle's already fucking me up. I thought the last one was a little difficult. Okay, I didn't check this. No, I did check this one. That's the first one I checked. The other one that's smiling is this one. Right? Is this smile? No. This one. Yeah, she's smiling. Okay. So where's the thorn? Doesn't have a... Oh, it's on her. I see it. Things walk like I do after a few soju, yeah. Flashcards. It's okay. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Ooh. And then she points in the way. Okay. When we get the Apache helicopter, yeah. I wish. Just burn the entire town down, man. Be done with it. I'm just going in a straight line. Pre-order game, unlock an M1 Abram, yeah. Fuck. We're doing this again, huh? Is there another clue prompt? Or is it still the smiles chocolate? There's the clue prompt, it's over here. Can you even imagine how I feel? What it's like to have been deceived by you for so long? Deceived, huh? A deceiving face. That one's got hands behind her back. Maybe it's a stance as well? I think it might be the one with the hands behind her back. Nah, this one looks deceiving. No. Yeah, it's this one, right? She's got her hands behind her back. She's hiding something. Deceiving. Fuck. Holy shit, she's fast. Okay. Come on. Let me pause some of these pills. Bit of umami flavor. Taking it in 2 hits. Ooh, the perfect dodge. Okay. It's not the one with the hands on his back. Fuck me, I guess.
武器が壊れかけてる。
I'll replace
も
it
う少しだ
fast.
け持ってくれ。
Maybe this one? He's got one hand out, one hand behind his back. Nah.
こんな時に
Oh shit, that staggers you when they break. Okay. I got the pipe. I should like switch. Yeah, there we go. Dark Souls switching. Is it the face? It's not, they all have the same expression. Oh, of course, one's coming out of the fog. Okay. I'm going to be brute forcing this puzzle, I think. Let's knock her down and then. Ugh. Easy. This one is fucking. Some stamina back. Come on. There we go. Okay. Deceiving. And I have one trailing me too. This sucks. I'm basically just going through all of these. Okay, nice. So I've hit all these, hit that one. This one's looking down, maybe that's what they mean? Aha! That's what I said to you when I saw you so scared. Okay, she's gonna point in the right direction now. Right down the road. Bye-bye. Am I gonna follow me? I'm just going in a straight line. My sickle is about to break. This sucks. I don't have anything to. Oh, I have a repair kit actually. She was deceived to the knife in her back. Yeah.
こんなとこに置いとくなんて。
Listen, I definitely like into my dump stats, so I don't always pick up on this kind of shit. Oh boy. I wonder why he gave me a toolkit.
ここ。
Are you serious? I have to start over? Oh no, this is new. Okay. Can you even imagine how I feel? He never once looked at me the way he looked at you. Not once. My whiz is like 8, yeah. Okay, so I did go in the right way. Envy? She's envious. Which one is envious? Wait, hold on. He never once looked at me the way he looked at you. Not once. So these scarecrows are facing each other, is that the clue? So to be the one that's not... It's gonna be one of these two on the left, right? This one right here. She's got nobody looking at her. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Sometimes I pick up on this. Flashcards. I wonder why I called you over. Heard her fucking Instagram pose. There we go. I should repair my knife soon, but... What's this? Bandage. Excellent. Pixelate. Maybe if I turn into an old pixel, I'll pick up on this easier. Can you even imagine how I feel? You've always been such an eyesore. Eyesore. Will these guys missing their eyes? No. 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 No, wait. This one has a slash on her. Oh no, that's not a slash, that's a hair. She's got a hair in her eye. I'm assuming that's not the I'm assuming that's not the clue. Is that part of the puzzle? Or is this one that's following me? No, she's following me. Okay, I see. Eyesore, huh? Isn't she pretty? Oh, fuck. Is she so pretty? Crack fucking skin and shit. I don't know how I got these scars. Yeah. Oh, it's fucking on the move. Okay, my gut tells me that it's this one because she's looking down. The others are looking up. Let's pray for the best. Where's your thorn? There it is, in your neck. Ah! Okay, alright. Boom! I didn't cut you with this. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna repair this now. There we go. Okay, it's not a total repair. Eyesore, eyesore. Look at your eyes. An eyesore. That thing is getting closer. Yeah, there it is. Can I just fight it? Do I have to, like... Okay, I can't just fight it. There. There we go. Okay, goddamn. Do this in peace. One's eyes are wide open. An eyesore. Eyesore. This one has no weapon. Do the others have weapons? This one has no weapons either. Hands are behind her back though. You've always been such an eyesore. My weapons are starting to break a bit, so I'm a little hesitant to just go willy-nilly. I don't know if it's lighting, but his eyes seem darker. Maybe that's it? Maybe that's the answer. It's not gonna be it, is it? Yeah, okay. Just seeing what sticks, you know? Oh boy. Okay. There we go. Fuck it, man. I'm just gonna go through them. I fucking missed. Oh, interesting. She has a 5 attack combo. And it's the 5th one you can parry. Parry this. You filthy casual. Oh shit. 2. Oh, she didn't do the 5 count that time. It's hitting people with dick. It must be this one, right? Of course it's not. Why would it be? We're Survivor. You're not very good at this game, are you? These very vague puzzles. That's how you know it's a Silent Hill game. See, now I'm forgetting which ones I checked. I checked
新
them.
しい武器を見つけ
I
な
need
き
to
ゃ
find a new weapon. Fantastic idea. This one's about to break. Did I check this one? I'm about to. Oh god. What does it want you to find? That is the question of the ages, Arctic. Because what it asked me to look for has been different at every scarecrow. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh goodness. The first one, it was its face. The second one, it had a knife in its back. The third one was not being faced by any of the scarecrows. This one says, can you imagine how I feel? You've always been such an eyesore. I thought it was the one looking down, but it's not. This is the last one. I don't quite understand what makes this one different from the others. I could have just lied to you, told you to go any which way. One staring at another. It could be. That was what the last scarecrow was one was not being looked at by others. Wait, which way is she pointing? This way, okay. I have half of a pipe left. Now, it's my understanding this game... Scarecrows. This game kind of has like a... Oh boy, okay. Can you even imagine how I feel? You hurt me, and even hurt him too. Do you know how it feels to force a smile when I'm staring at that disgusting face of yours? Where's the smile when I'm staring at that disgusting face of yours? Oh boy. Okay, so... And we have one coming. We have multiple coming. This sucks. I'm assuming it's one of these two right here. If it is another facing. This is not good. I am lacking weapons. So I'm going to... Where's this one? Leg pipe. Okay, I'm gonna bring these way over here. Oh my god, there's a third one? Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit, they're everywhere. Oh my goodness, okay. You hurt me and even hurt him too. Do you know how it feels to force a smile when I'm staring at a disgusting face of yours? Smiling and staring at a disgusting face. I'm assuming it's that boy. This is not good. And I have no repair kits either. Alright. Alright, bitch. Oh, my pipe is about to break. This is not good. Please tell me there's a toolkit. Yokon! I don't want your fucking Yokon!
武器が壊れそうだ
Shit! Okay. Oh, it doesn't want me to go that way? Okay. Staring at the disgusting face of yours, forcing a smile. Is there supplies here? Please tell me there's a dried carcass? I don't want that shit, man. I would love to get a toolkit. Okay, if I can get these over here, I might have time to grab. I'm gonna be pissed if it's if if I get this wrong. It's gonna be one or two. I gotta look away from it. Come on, come over here. Okay, if I look at them while I'm doing this, I'm pretty sure it's one of these two. Her face is upside down, so it's one of these two, right? Nah. Fuck me, I guess. Oh god. Please have enough to kill him. Shit. That's not good now, is it? Oh my fuck. Okay. I have to keep the others in my line of sight as well. Over here. Come on, Ninako. All ass. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Are you kidding me? Okay, that doesn't count either. It's all gone to shit, Kupo. Oh, shit. This is not good. This is very bad. It's over. It's so over. So many of them. You know what? Let's get more. Nah. Oh, holy shit. One of you has to be in. One of you. Fuck. Oh my goodness. I did not sign up for this shit. Oh shit. You know, if I got some fucking... Oh my god, okay. What the fuck? No. No. It can't be. No! No. The OnlyFans isn't open up yet, guys. Come on. Oh shit, okay. Nothing to it, we're just gonna get them all, huh? We're going one by one. Oh my god! Holy shit! There's so many of them. Come on. Oh my god! It's gonna be one of those two, are you fucking kidding me? Things right not to. At least I can actually do this puzzle, right? I don't know what it's I know what it's asking me, but oh my god, I actually managed to get every single one that isn't the right one. That's incredible. This is amazing. I love this. Thank you. Thank you, Silent Hill. Thank you, Konami. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Miyazaki. Thank you. Thank you, Kojima. Holy shit. I got it! Ah, it was easy as that, man. It happens all the time. A kid falling to their death in the waterway. Or eaten by fucking scarecrows, man. Jesus Christ. More impressive the game is handling all this on Unreal Engine 5, yeah. This game... Kronos was on Unreal Engine 5 too, and that game kind of ran like shit, especially in the first half. This game has been really smooth for me. You'd love to see it. Of course, this is the final Scarecrow. I hope that despawned all the other enemies. Oh. Uh-oh. I think she's angry. Oh. Oh, I don't like that.
Oi! Hinako!
あれ、さっ
Beat
き
up
の
her
は
shoe. God damn it. I walk this path every time I go to Rinko's, but to be honest, to this day I'm still scared that I might get lost. I mean, I've been told that I should probably just ask an adult for directions if I get lost. Maybe I should have did that. But then I remember that one time when I walked on the footpath of the rice fields for fun, and got smacked by an old farmer all of a sudden. The trauma from that experience made me scared of adults, back then, even to this day. It actually did despawn him, yeah. I got literally every fucking incorrect scarecrow. Oh, and that one's gone now, too.
ひなこ、
リンコは
呼んでみよ
Perfect. Perfect.
う。リンコ、俺だ。シュウだ。いるなら返事してくれ。
Ah, she is here.
くれたんだ。あ、ひなこも
Yeah, and she likes shoe.
怪我はないか。家族は。
私は大丈夫。でも誰もいないの。足の悪いおばあちゃんまでいないなんて、こんなの絶対に変。誰もいないし、気味の悪い怪物がうるつき回ってるし、何が何だかわからないよ。
Remember all caps when you spelled a man's name. Yes, it's good you're alive too. Yeah, it's clear that Inako, our protagonist, and the other girls in her group were not. They're friends, but it almost feels like they're friends just from circumstance, you know, not friends.
これ以上ここに留まるのは危険だ。街を出
Inako's already ostracized because she, quote unquote, plays with boys. She plays with Shu. She's friends with Shu.
助けを呼ぶためにも、今は行動を急いだ方がいいかもしれない。
みんなを見捨てるわけじゃない。助けるためにも一度脱出する必要があるんだ。
でも、街を出るって言っても、あれじゃ無理だよ。
Sort of like a dungeon boss being friends with an adventure. Yeah. Friends.
この窓から天井が見えるよ。
Friends.
霧が濃くなければ。
Shells be smoked. They're probably all going to die, yeah.
そうだろ
But in Hinako.
敵が
Reaches out.
どうしよう。
東の鉄橋がダメなら西の県道を目指そう。
柊の家の裏山を抜けるのか。あの山越えられるの。
わさび田への道がある。うちだけの抜け道だ。
Wasabi.
リンコ、
Wasabi fields.
念のため薬や絆創膏を持っていきたい。
台所に救急箱あるよ。取ってくるね。あ、私も一緒に行こう。手伝う。
相棒が一緒なら安心だ。
She was gonna be the last one to go. At least I think.
台所どこだっけ。
Nah, I don't like that face. Look at that shit. She doesn't like her. That is a look of contempt, raw contempt. Oh, the doll. Beware Rinko. Oh. Down the stairs. Is she out? She's losing out to kill her. That's what it looks like. The game centered around the idea of overcome gender oppression and should to follow you around like lost puppies. Follow Shu around like lost puppies, yeah. Oh, we're back in the fucking spirit realm. It means Fox Mask is here, right? And I imagine Shu is one of those circumstances that made all those girls quote unquote friends.
一体
Because clearly Rico likes Shu. Hinako has been friends with Shu for a long time, and I get the feeling that Shu likes Hinako. And then the other chick, she's dead, so she doesn't matter anymore.
いた
Ah, the blue light. That's a fox mask. Do I have a map here? I do. Okay.
もう少し待っててくれてもいいのに
Two items. Yes. Arare. A small crispy rice cracker. Its pleasant crunch makes it never boring to eat. Stores health. Effect increases when used continuously. Can also be used as an offering. So if you keep spamming Arare, you get... Oh, interesting. Okay. She's dead. She don't matter anymore. I take personal offense to that. Doom Guide. The thing is she's dead. You're only mostly dead. Mostly. At least I think she's dead. I'm gonna be mad when she comes back. She was the daughter of the priest, after all. If there's one thing you can count on, it's silent. Someone throwing shit around there. There's one thing you can count on for Silent Hill games, is to be some occult shit going on. Hello? Who's in there? Tension. It's palpable. Oh, I like that. Messy scrawls. Wonder what that pretty little thing's trips will sound like when I tear off that mask of hers. The girl before last was an exquisite specimen. I can barely contain myself every time I think about her. Ooh. Oh, there's the Inari. What's he holding in his mouth? A key? A fan? I like this art. Alright, what's in here? There was something crawling around in here. What the fuck was that? Wine water. Oh, it's outside. Can't use any of this. Game does look really gore. It does. This game is really good looking. I mean, it's Unreal Engine 5, right? But the biggest thing about Unreal Engine 5 is stability issues. I suppose I'll go this way first, towards the monster. Towards the sounds. Oh. Lantern. What is this? Oh, that's the ceremonial knife. That's right, okay. Does this have... I don't think the knife, the ceremonial knife here has durability.
誰
Boy. I can't wait to be eaten by ectoplasmic worms. By the way, if you love Japanese horror, check out this director. His name's Koji Shiraishi. He has a large amount of his works are on YouTube. There's a group that translates them. Oh, another Emma. Nice. There's a group that translates his works with subtitles if you can't understand Japanese on YouTube. Oinari-sama's emblem. Okay, so I'm missing something. They're a little low budget, but they got a lot of heart in them. I fucking love his movies. Shit like Noroi, The Curse. Pain, suffering even. It's stuck. Oh, it marks which doors I hit. Nice. I actually really like that. That's one of my quality of life I like in these kinds of games. Need to find a key. Okay. We have a few more buildings before we get there. Cult. He has a movie called Cult. Another one called Occult. They're good fun. They're good fun for horror movies. Is this a stage? Shriveled Abura Age. Another offering. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the chocolate, I think. Yeah, I'll get rid of the chocolate. I do need faith. I think that's, if there's one thing I'm fucking up on this game, is faith management. Have some faith. Survivor. Okay, was there a door here? No, okay. No, there's one movie of his I do not recommend watching. It's called A Record of Sweet Murder. That movie, the Doom World I'm talking about, will bring you great pain and suffering if you've ever seen it. That movie is an uncomfortable type of horror to it. I cannot in good... Okay, I think that's the way I'm supposed to go. I'm gonna go this way first. But he also has a series, ongoing series on YouTube of found footage where they investigate different, what do you call it? Urban legends in Japan. Storage room key. Well, then he placement a note. Maybe we can open the storage room door. Okay, that must go back there. So let me see what's here first. Looks like just a save shrine. Nice. Okay. That means I can sell. Nice. The comb and the fried tofu. Excellent. I'm not too worried about the charms. Stamina, more health, more sanity. Definitely more health. Okay, nice. It's his best way because it is so visceral. Joy the most uncomfortable. Yeah, that movie is very uncomfortable to watch. Definitely brace yourself if you ever decide to watch that movie. Is that a fucking, what is it called? Naginata? Oh shit, dude. Is that a weapon I can use? His other stuff is more lighthearted though. I say lighthearted, but like they're like cheesy kind of like B-tier movies, I guess. Break the door down, we need that, yeah. I'm not liking these scratches. I'm gonna check the storage room real fast. Assuming the key goes here. Fucking ambient sounds, man. Here we go. Okay, storage room's open. I see we're making child soldiers. Yeah. As Zarksix says, why do these who gave these weapons to these children? Oh, we got lots of ambience here. Oh, the doll! Don't believe the fox's words. Stay away from the western room. Assuming that's going to spawn something? A warning. Hinako is mine. Her fingers, her lips, every last drop of blood that can be squeezed from her is mine. I forbid anyone from laying so much as a finger on her. I shall say it until my throat is raw. Hinako is mine. Ominous. Let's put 2 and 2 together. I'm assuming the fox is going to betray me. Unfortunately, I don't really have a choice, now do I? Okay, so back up. Let's try and get that Naginata. Did I go in there? Okay, I was about to say that. Wasn't that close? Didn't I go in there? The thing said stay away from the western room. But I would be a fool to go in there without a weapon. I mean, I have a knife. But I could have that big thing. We can't read. Ah, okay. I don't have a choice. Yep, I don't have any choice. That door's locked too. Okay. Well, nothing to it but to do it. Hirako's, her description says she absolutely hates being dependent on others. Oh, that's not ominous. Okay. Face is burned off or smeared off. Depictions of Japanese women. Hinako's head is missing. These are gonna bust through those paintings. I swear to fuck, dude, if they do. What the fuck? You had the right idea. What does that say? Don't trust him. Inari sculpture. A sculpture in the image of the god Inari. It looks like it might fit somewhere. Okay, that's the other door. That's down here, right? Southwest. Because there was a door that had the symbol on it, so it'll be this one. Oh, I guess not. Never mind. My logic is flawed. The doll so far has basically saved your... That's true, yeah. The doll has been correct on all accounts so far. Did I miss a door over here? No, it's just this thing. Okay. Do I put the thing here? No. Okay. Okay, no other things there. So let's try and get in here, I suppose. Doll's playing a long game, they're gonna betray you. Trust no one, yeah. Trust nobody. Not even yourself. It's that kid pointing the gun at himself. The back of his own head. Hello? Wee woo. Yokan. I can't wait for the Silent Hill 1 remake. That game has tension like this game does with the ambient scares. Ancient note. There are valuable relics hidden away in the old storage room. They must be kept under lock and key. The last girl slipped in while I wasn't looking. It took a long time to find her. It's my understanding Bloober Team's doing the Silent Hill 1 remake too. They just did the second one and they did Chronos, so looking forward to that. Hopefully the game runs a little better. Ah, this is where the statue goes. The Inari. Secret doorway. Alright. Oh shit! My lantern! I want that. I need this. The Naginata. Exquisitely crafted ornamental polearm that is extremely sturdy and able to be used as a weapon. Excellent. It's on, bitch. Oh, you can't fucking... Oh! I am fucking this up. Drink, 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 drink. Oh, that does a lot of damage. Nice. Oh, I don't like that black cloud though. That means it's gonna... Fire's gone out. Fuck. That means it's gonna respawn, right? Get to the sacred door. Did I get another... Oh, I got more inputs in the monsters. Movie Scarecrow, at least a monster that pretends to be a scarecrow. It's just in old clothes. Looks like a crucified person far away. Contrary to its name, it scares more kids off than crows. Giant, repulsive lump of flesh that is filled to the brim with a maniacal anger. It howls awfully as it swings its large knife in any which direction. Its unfettered anger is no different from that of a wild animal. No, it's far worse than that. Okay, that was the golems from the last area. Monster that possesses sharp blades for legs. Oh, it's that fucking Tarantino movie. Did someone sever both of its legs and replace them with such disturbing things so it wouldn't go anywhere? Or was this creature brought into existence just so it could end up like this?
すいません。お借りします。
I am fucking dying. One more hit and I should be able to use my med kit. Okay, so I'm way back now. No lantern either. Oh, this looks... It looks like a boss area. Oh no, there's a safe spot here. I'm armed. The Yokon restores health, okay. This restores sanity, this restores stamina. Gotcha. Oh, that's what you need emeralds to do those. Can I get some sanity back? Yes, excellent. Okay, save. Alright, I have one bandage. I'll go ahead and use it. Alright. Investigate the sacred door.
やっと着いた。
Why not? I'm assuming I can't go that way yet. The key is it the same one as before. So last time I was in this area, this other world, as it's usually called in Silent Hill, I put the key in the fox's mouth.
ダメだ。開かない。
Won't open. Something's supposed to go here too. I'm assuming there's another key.
ひなこ、こっちだよ。
Fuck. Sakuko? Sakuko is very in touch with her spiritual side. She seems to always have some god or apparition visiting her dreams, telling her about this or that. According to Sakuko, there's been quite the supernatural disturbance around Ebisugaoka. Something about an ancient god who's furious about having their followers stolen from them, and now they're out for revenge and whatnot.
サクコ？
What does high sanity do? So sanity, my understanding is that sanity lets me use focus, which, when enemies attack you, they, some of their attacks, they get like, they shimmer for a second, and if I hit the attack button at the right time, I can preemptively hit them and knock them down. Sanity acts as a sort of focus gauge for that, and at 0 sanity, I start to lose HP. It starts draining HP. Another, oh, let's go around this. Another resource to juggle around for combat. Another fucking duelist. Might be able to. Like that! There we go. And focusing uses up some of my sanity. But I don't think it incurs any additional benefits when it's at max. It's just another resource to juggle. Bandage. Omamori. Hawk. Greatly decreases focus charging time. Ah, that would be nice too. That's gonna be good for combat. Actually, what do I have equipped now? Plum. Stamina is good, but this decreased focus charging time means I use less sanity. That might actually be worth using, especially with this Naginata. Browse around time coming to Ashigaru. Yeah. Where? Okay, so there's nothing else in here. Lots of lamps, lanterns. Okay, there's one more building. Divine water. That's good. Another duelist around this corner. Oh, what the fuck? Holy shit. You bitch. You would fucking... Okay. Oh my goodness. Heal up. I probably should use the... Stab, stab, stab! This sucks because I'm pretty sure those things come back when they're covered in the black smoke. Drop roll kick, yeah. Okay, and that door is locked. Another one, of course. I might be able to get the... Oh. Ew, I don't like how I walk so fast. Ugh. You can hit the walls? Oh, fuck no. Oh, shit. Okay. Just die. Just die. Oh, shit, the other one's back. Oh, my stamina. Okay. Bye-bye. Let's pop some pillies. Anything that way? Nope, okay. God damn, man. Okay. Cool.
書庫こんなところに
Library. You getting some lore bombs in here? Housemaid's note. February 15th. There can be no two ways about it. The family is indeed cursed, and I am the only one who knows the full story. I must tell the master all I know, for if I do not, the curse will certainly befall me as well. May the gods have mercy on me. All the secret arts, medicines succumb to us, spirit and flesh. It's not ominous at all. Family physician's log, February 1st. Symptoms at onset are as follows: headache, fever, vertigo, chills, vomiting, diarrhea. At first, I believe signs pointed to a seasonal cold. However, after prescribing medicine, symptoms did not improve. In fact, they worsened. A curse, huh? The crimson spring gushing from the womb, deep within, is the Shimizu family.
これうちのこと
Yeah, she's a Shimizu. Crimson spring gushing from the womb deep within is a Shimizu family. That fucking... That's definitely Silent Hill. If you ever played any other Silent Hills, their vague notes use imagery like that. Nothing here. I'm waiting for some like run across this fucking right here. Nothing. Oh, here's one. Ritual is held. The Igarashi clan, last descendants. Igarashi. I don't think any of the Junko Igarashi. The Igarashi. Okay, so that's the priest. So Sakuko died early on, and she's the daughter of the head priest of the town. Ritual is held. Igarashi clan, last descendants. Oh, good. The priests are evil. The priest family is evil. Excellent. Not enough. The honorable blood. Fill it up. Make it full. Otherwise. Religion bad, yeah. The Shinto priests are actually evil. Let's see. February 8th. The patient's conditions are declining suddenly and rapidly. Symptoms are as follows: labored breathing, cognitive impairment, quadriplegia, involuntary movements. In addition to these, an even stranger symptom has arisen. The patient's facial features appear to be deforming. The patient's faces remain stuck in expressions of constant strain, their teeth bared, their eyes narrowed into a menacing glare. Maybe they're just really happy, you know? They're just smiling. Like that movie, Smile. I actually really like that movie. Second one was okay too.
こっちだよひなこサクコ
Oh,
サクコ
that's part of the course for horror movies. Usually the first one with the original idea is really good, and then after that they kind of fall off. Okay, I'm just making sure there's no other notes. Now, it's also my understanding this game kind of has, I think it's, I was saying this when I got interrupted. This game has like a near thing going on. You're locked into one ending for your initial playthrough, but you're supposed to play through it again. Things get switched up. There's different bosses, different monsters, different item placements. You're supposed to go through multiple times to get the other ending. I don't typically do that for games, but if it's different like in Nier, I think I might for this game. Notes, research notes on Enmi Jugan Roku. The wish to have one's romantic desires fulfilled is as old as humanity itself. Consequently, there have existed many arts by which people attempt to make such dreams come true. One such method was to employ a sorcerer, known as a Juganshi, to perform an incantation written in the Enmi Jugan Roku. After such spells were suspected of causing chaos and turmoil in the imperial court, their practice was expressly forbidden under the Yoro Code in the first year of the Tempio Hoji era, 757 AD. However, these incantations were later adopted into the practice of Onmyodo, where their effects continue to be studied. According to multiple sources, powerful romantic spells that have been successfully cast are often accompanied by the scent of sandalwood. Love spells? Well, given that we found that note earlier about whoever wanting Hinako was theirs forever, I think the pieces are starting to come together. Early recorded history, Japan. Yeah, these are like they're basically shamans at the time, right? Dried carcass. Red capsules. Okay, more pills. Nothing else. God damn it. That almost got me. There! That stamina buff early on is really helpful. I like eating my ramen watching Japanese doll horror, yeah. What time is it actually? Okay, cool. We still got some time. I don't go too late, because I was playing this really late last night. Okay, so... check on this corner. Is there anything? That the fuck? Yeah, there fucking is. Jesus. Okay. All right. Retreat. Tactical retreat. I'm not afraid. I don't get scared. There's no door to this building. Yeah, I'm just gonna run past this shit. Fuck. I would walk into a fucking dead end. I'm liking these layouts. This is bringing me back to like dungeon crawlers. Holy shit, they move fast. Look how fast he moves. Okay, I should be able to just fucking... Excuse me, ladies. Oh, he spanked me. He spanked me good. Holy shit. Bye-bye. Okay, what have we got here? I'm assuming they can't squeeze through that shit, right? Oh, a save spot. Excellent. I can sell this carcass. 200 faith. Fuck. Not enough to sell one of these. Okay. I don't have an Oh, no, I don't have an Emma to upgrade. Okay, so... I could draw a random Omamori. Let's go for the gacha. The Mantis slightly restores health after each successful counter. Ooh. Combat. Very nice. Okay. Let's save. Cool. Hi, hi.
咲子 そっちにいるの？
That mantis might come in handy. This reeks of like a boss fight, you know, so it's okay. Let me check my assets. Heals, insanity, heals, okay. A pilly. Okay. Maybe it's a little too... Maybe Sakuko dying early was a little too well timed, you know. Now that we know her family line is evil. Stone orb seems to be made from the same material as the stone key that Fox Mask had given me. Here it serves a similar purpose. Oh boy. Holy shit, what the fuck is that? Oh. Oh no. Not the red mist. Oh god. Its spine is made out of arms? Oh. Let's not fight this. Yeah, let's fucking go. So the red fog drains stamina. Or sorry, it drains your sanity. Once your stamina. I want to get out. I want to go through the store, please. No, I can't. Okay. Okay, so I just keep running. There's more of them. This is incredible, she says. I went the wrong way. Oh, not the scream. It's raining blood. Slayer, help me. There's so many of them. Left. Oh my goodness. You traitor. That's what she said at the beginning. She called you a traitor when you first met her. That was before she died. Oh, before she had reason to call you a traitor. Oh shit. Oh my goodness. Oh. Please get out of my fucking way. Please get out of my fucking way. Please get out of my fucking way. Oh, come on, Hinako, it's right there, Hinako. Here we go. Eat the fox. I'm starting to piece together a little bit of the background of this game. The only thing that's up in the air is if the Igorashis are in cahoots with Fox Mask or not. It did say Fox Mask was mad that, or Inari-sama was mad that he's losing his followers to something else. I don't know how much ancient Japanese sorcery fits in with Shintoism though, so definitely safe here. I only have 9 faith. I don't think I can get my... Yeah, I can get shit for it. Here we go. It's a little bit at least. Bandage. Nice. Always good to heal. Let me fucking let me get all my sanity back. Wait, I think some of these actually restore, right? The kutsu tea. Okay. Drink the kutsu tea. as soon as the fight starts. Oh, sweet, huh? Time is it. Sakuko. I imagine she's not happy that she just got the flowers ate her at the beginning. Oh god. Oh shit. Ugh. Someone read her through. It is save you. That is a big club. Holy shit. Oh god. Whoa! Holy shit. Okay, so when she puts her arms out, that's the parry window. Oh, there's a follow up. What the fuck? And there we go. Okay. Alright. Information on her fight. It's not good. It's very bad. Let's drink some of this. Okay, she turns her head when she does that. I don't know what that is. Okay, that's a grab. She's got command grabs. Got it. Got it. See here. 2, 3. Okay. Oh, and she has another follow-up for that. That's good. Okay. You crazy bitch. Oh no! Don't eat me! Ah! She's eating my face! Oh! Ew. Gotcha. Oh shit! Let's see that one more time. Jesus Christ, okay. I flopped out, that's fine. What is that? She's that fucking monk from fucking Sekiro. You hear that shit on the bridge? What is she doing? My sanity. Oh! Kills. Fuck you. Sakuko. Dodge this! That's my line! Look at those pro dodges. Oh, I didn't know she had that move. Oh, she's whipping my ass. That. Okay, don't eat my face, please. Gotcha. No stamina. This sucks. Oh. Okay, okay. Keep it steady. Easy, easy, easy. Oh! God damn it. Pills. Okay. Oh! Blood meat is hard. Pills. Pills. Oh shit. Ah, I couldn't get her in time. Oh. Oh. She's too far, I can't. Ugh, there we go. Oh. Here, this one. Ah, you can't dodge that. Okay, I tried. Where? Oh, I went the wrong way. Here it comes. No! Holy shit. I'm gonna fuck it up again. She went behind me. Shit. She's... Gotcha, bitch! Nice. Oh, Fox Mask! Damn, he's just taking those hits. That was sick. That was slick. That was cool. Thank you, Han Jungi. Impurity that haunts you no more. Just assured you were safe now. Okay, so Fox Mask and the Igorashis are not in cahoots. Unless that was all a ploy. Now the question is who's casting love magic? Love sorcery. Statue's peeing. Divine water? Like cleansing waters? Damn, nice nails, dude. Nari piss gave her Philia. My Saja boy came to save me. Okay. Fire? Lava?
いや
大丈夫。ただの水だよ。
Lava. Chicken. Ever wonder when you mixed Japanese schoolgirl and lava? It's just water, see? Oh. What? The fox tricked me? Don't trust the fox mask. Thank you, Dolly. But what else are you supposed to do, right?
ひなこ、
Well, like she has anywhere to go.
しっかりしろ。
ドジだね。あんた階段から落ちたんだよ。
Fucking Rinko.
腕、どうした？
あれ、引っ掛けて破いちゃったのかな。
特にあざはないみたいだな。痛むところはないか？
うん、大丈夫。それはよかった。
Do.
どうした？
行こう。時間を無駄にした。
There's no time to waste.
行こ
私をちゃんと守ってよ。私、ひなこみたいに強くないんだから。
う。分かってる。俺から離れるな。
Oh, okay, bitch.
目指すは俺の家だ。裏道から山を越え県道に出よう。俺が先頭を行く。相棒はしんがりを。
分かった。私はシュウ君の後ろにいるね。真ん中なら安心だし。
Yeah, that fucking look right there. You have to wonder if she pushed her.
しんがりは引き受けた。
I can't go back in, eh? Nah, I can't, okay. Oh, something here. Ramune. It's a fizzy drink. Bandage. I'm gonna miss my Naginata. That's right, I have no weapons. Shit. This sucks. Okay. No pipes laid around. This sucks. Alright. Luckily there's a safe spot here. Okay, record. Out here in the real world, I'm a faithless worm. I have no faith. Sandy's fine. Okay. Now where, oh where? These children wander off to. I hate having no weapons, man. All of the doll monsters are gone.
こっちだ。大丈夫か、相棒。化け物につけられてないか？
問題ない。シュウ君っていつまでひなこのこと相棒って呼ぶの？相棒なんて呼び方、小学生の男子みたい。
相棒は相棒さ。俺は相棒を女扱いしてない。
そうだな。された覚えもない。
立ち話は終わりだ。行くぞ。
I don't like that I'm holding a pipe in the cutscene, but I don't actually have a pipe. Please. Please give me a weapon game. I'm helpless. I'm a helpless schoolgirl. Maybe there's something here in the scrapyard. Yes! Excellent! Steel pipe. Thank Inari. Okay. Now, they talked about going up the mountain, so I'm supposed to go right here, I think. A leg there. I wonder if there's anything hidden? Off the beaten path here a little bit. Ah. Arare. Some snacks. Here? No. Potatoes. Bandage. Nice, nice. So I have a bandage. I have a toolkit. I don't need to go back that way. And one pipe. Toolkit will increase my longevity a little bit. It's nice. Oh, this is creepy. Senensugi Shrine Flyer. Let's hold a Jichinsai. Whether you're building a house or pulling it down, digging a well or filling one up, it's all done upon Inari-sama's land. We should show our gratitude to Inari-sama by holding a Jichinsai. Holding a Jichinsai is especially important for wells, lest we forget the ancient tale of a poisonous water dragon that once wreaked havoc until Inari-sama finally sealed it deep underground. Digging a new well is just like opening up an air hole for that terrible dragon. And if we're not careful, we risk facing its wrath once more. That's why we must have a Jichinsai. Oh, there was a third page on that. Senensugi Shrine. A lonely little shrine situated on the outskirts of town. The name Senensugi Shrine sure sounds fancy, but that's all it has going for it. Even though Ebisugaoka is full of elderly believers, the shrine rarely gets any visitors. They instead go to what's closest to them, and that's an Inari statue. Sakuko's family serves the shrine, including fulfilling the role of head priest. Sakuko is quite proud of this fact, but I don't know if the same can be said about our parents. Okay, what was the last page on that? That page I got. There's a price first time customers, special deals for requests and unlucky calendar days. Call for a free consultation now. A war of beliefs, then. Shintoism and sorcery. Is it a cemetery? Key to Sakuko's mailbox. A plain mailbox key. The surname Igarashi is written on the attached tag. Letter from Sakuko's mother. Dear Sakuko, you mustn't ever speak again about how you hear otherworldly voices talking or singing. Puberty is a difficult time. Oh, Jesus. You may hear and see strange things that you can't explain. The same thing happened to me when I was your age. However, it's nothing more than your imagination playing tricks on you. If your friends find out, though, they'll label you the strange girl. They'll abandon you, ostracize you. Because around here, once rumors spread, people will never look at you the same again. Ah, yes. Thank you for the tube, Nova. Also, welcome, Nova. Welcome back. I am armed. I have some kind of weapon. I started to think boys are cute. I started to hear the screams of the abyss. Tell me it's a Silent Hill game without telling me it's a Silent Hill game. This is Silent Hill always has like a focus on young girls and occultic shit going on. It's kind of fucked, if you ask me. Let's see. I remember what Sakuko once said. Senensugi Shrine didn't used to be the small shrine that we know. The real shrine was situated on a mountain, and it was much more impressive than it is now. Long ago, there was an actual 1,000-year cedar that was worshipped as a divine vessel. Unfortunately, it was struck by lightning and burned to ash. Upon losing its divine vessel, the shrine was abandoned and became the small shrine it is present today. Japan, that's all you gotta say, yeah. Struck by lightning and burned to ash. Upon losing its divine vessel, the storm is abandoned. Okay. I'm reminded of that puzzle from last time regarding the divine lightning striking the tree and then kutsu began to sprout.
咲子、この神社を昔みたいに盛り上げるんだっていつも言ってたな。
Fine water, excellent. More assets. A comb. Okay, fuck. All my shit is maxed too, this sucks. Okay. I suppose I'll replace that. The faith will pay off more than enough. And I just got more, okay, excellent. There's no other path up? Well, I have the mailbox key. I suppose I can head back to the town. I can't, like, go back here, can I? No. Okay. We'll head back down to the village. The village. Time is it? I go a little bit longer, maybe like half an hour-ish. Hit the next major story beat. Oh, they are here. Okay. I thought it was weird that the dolls weren't chasing me anymore. I must have to go up there then. Now, I don't remember where Sakuko's house is exactly.
先生、いますか?
Nothing. Does Doctor have supplies? Ooh. Squishy, yeah. Someone left their meat all over the fucking fields, man. Something in this basket? Nothing. Okay. Ah, blood. Excellent. Of course. It's locked. Oh, the leg! Whoa. Oh, man. The Unreal Engine 5 is hitting different right now.
先生ですか?
This brings me back to 2007 PC gaming. Like, you can count the frames, man. 10, see? Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back. We're back. We're so back. You're waking up Monday morning. Yeah, look, it's just like all fucked up, man. I can't hit her. She hasn't spawned in proper. Okay, make a note. Doctor's key. I don't want that. I assume I can just open it, right? Oh my god! Eyeballs! I've been seen. Is this a puzzle box? Ah, drawer key. Stay out of my stuff, Survivor. Listen, I need these eyeballs, man. I don't have eyes, look at me. You know what's under this helmet? An obscene amount of eyeballs. I got more eyeballs than you can count. Kutsuti. That's very strong, but I don't need it. There's actually a shrine nearby I can sell this shit to, so... Can I open the front door? Fuck, okay. Well, at least I have the key now. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's gone. That's good. There's the reagents. Crafting shit? Dude. You gotta let me in on that shit. Local doctor's note. Even now, the trust given to the long-standing physicians of the Iwai family is unshakably strong. When I spoke to the eldest working member of the family at a gathering, I was astonished by their outstanding bounty of knowledge. Although, as they discussed the details of their practices with me, I got the hint that they might still be using controlled substances in their treatment. However, I think it best that I look the other way in this situation. While it is now illegal to produce the cloudy rice wine known as Dobroku, people across Japan were once free to make it as they needed. Perhaps operating within the gray area of legislation between traditional and modern medicine has always been the role of local physicians here. I'm just realizing these kids come from very staunchly different backgrounds. You have, for some reason, Hinako here, her bloodline is cursed, I guess, and then you have the priest's daughter, who is anti-Shintoism, and then now you have the doctor as well, who is... She was part of the doctor's family. Wants me in, huh? Controlled substances. Oh my word. Completely. The fuck? Someone made a big mess in here, and I think it's this shit. This little shit right here. Claw marks. Omamori Pine. Increased max HP. Nice. Nice. Autopsy report. Undetermined cause of death. Undetermined COD case. COD case. 09. Body was astonishingly malnourished, and the calvarium had split open like it had burst from the inside. The cranial bones had been hollowed out and filled with insect eggs, later identified as belonging to various species including locusts, grasshoppers, and crickets. No evidence to suggest they were put there by human hand, so they'd be plated by insects naturally. Highly unusual behavior considering the current harsh winter temperatures. I like when you get scared and just go quiet. I'm trying to listen, man. You gotta focus your hearing. Little narcotics make things interesting. Yet another corpse to come through with an inexplicable COD. I'm assuming COD means cause of death. At least this one was easier to stomach than case 08. All bodies with unexplainable causes of death are kept secret and swiftly handed over to the police department. In turn, the police department immediately disposes of such bodies without so much as a customary glance. This sounds like a case of Call of Duty to me. Undetermined Call of Duty case 09. Additional notes. This man was suspected of blaspheming against religious doctrine. He seemed to bear some kind of grudge against the Inari faith. It's always the same with these strange corpses. After all, there can only be one outcome for not paying reverence to Orinari-san. So, it seems like the doctor family worships Inari as well. It's kind of strange. This guy's dead from insects, eating out his skull, eating out, and laying eggs in his brains and his head. And then the doctor says only one outcome for not paying reverence. This is fucked up. What's the storyline of this Silent Hill? So Hinako here is this is 1950s, 1960s Japan. And Japan, like any other country in the world, especially in this point in time, has very strong gender norms and expectations, depending on whether you're a boy or a girl. Hinako here is a bit of a tomboy. She grew up playing with boys, and as such, she is ostracized by or so-called friends. Earlier, I'm pretty sure she's friends with these two other girls out of circumstance because of the main boy in the group. His name is Shu. And Hinako also has a troubled life at home. Her father's a drunk. I can actually go over the oh, I got a new one for Ringo too. The father here, Shimizu Kanta. As it reads, when I first learned of the term patriarchal husband, and that it meant a man who does nothing but boss his wife around, he was the first person to come to mind. Dad barely talks. He ignores me when I tell him good morning. But if I say nothing, he gets angry instead. And once he's angry, he just explodes. He loses all control over his emotions in the blink of an eye. He yells at Mom, throws things around, and even hits us. Why can't he act like that in public? Why does everyone else only get to see his quiet, calm side? If it meant that I wouldn't have to spend another second with him in that house, I'd happily let myself be taken away. Daddy issues, yeah. Huge daddy issues. And she doesn't even like her mom either. Shibizu Kimie, my mother. If I had to choose one word to describe her, it would be pitiful. She's the one who bears the brunt of my father's violent moods and malicious abuse. When I was younger, she used to protect me from him, so I didn't hate her back then. But maybe I do hate her now. Even as my father screams in her face, throws bowls at her, and sends her out for alcohol late at night, she remains ever loyal to him. I just cannot, will not accept her way of life. And Hinako here, there's not a single extraordinary thing about me, except maybe being tall for a girl my age. I used to be in the track and field club, which is probably why I'm better at sports than most girls. I guess I got used to running around a lot when I was a kid since I preferred playing with boys. I will admit I can be quite stubborn at times. I don't like accepting things that other people decide for me, even if it's the right thing to do. More than once I've rebelled and made the wrong decision, only to regret it later. Another game with a toxic relationship, yeah. Her mom is a victim too, yeah, it sucks. this whole family, it sucks. Unlike my sister Junko, who was always the golden child, I've been in a handful ever since I was little. My parents told me that I never listened to a single word they said. I'd make my mom cry and my dad furious. But Junko was always there for me. She understood me. She looked out for me. That's why I love my sister, and I've always done what she's asked me, or at least I've tried. She would smooth things out between me and my parents, which made life in that house a little more bearable. That is, until she got married, of course. And Hanako here seems to resent her sister for what I'm going to assume is abandoning her after she got married and left the house. Kids have a narrow view typically. They do. They have a very narrow view of things. And at her age, I imagine she has a lot of frustration and trouble understanding why she was born into this family. She'll probably understand when she's older, yeah. It's the entire world too at the same time. All they know, yeah. All she knows is mom, dad, sister, friends at school, going to school. And she most likely can't wait. The intro cutscene actually has her father getting angry at her. He didn't hit her, but there was alcohol bottles all over the place, and he was screaming at her. You go to school, you get bullied by your friends. You come home and you get beat by your dad, or watch him beat your mom, beat your sister. It's fucked up, man. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. I was mad I couldn't discover new dinosaur bones. Yeah. And Junko here is the sister. We saw her briefly at the beginning. My older sister. She's one of the prettiest and kindest people I know, and there's nothing she can't do. I can rely on her for anything. Honestly, she's the greatest sister anyone could ask for. She's always been there for me, ever since the day I was born until she left to get married. And these are the friends. Looks like Ringo got a new page. So Sakuko, we just fought Sakuko as a boss in the other world. One of my friends. She's always got her head up in the clouds and is a little strange. She's constantly trying to worm her way out of pay me back for the 500 yen I lent her that one time. Her father is the head priest of the Senin Sugi shrine in town. She seems to take great pride in donning the traditional Miko robes and selling charms during the New Year celebrations. Sakuko is dead, by the way. She's died twice now. Sakuko is very in touch with her spiritual side. She seems to always have some god or apparition visiting her dreams, telling her about this or that. According to Sakuko, there's been quite the supernatural disturbance around Ebisugaoka. Something about an ancient god who's furious about having their followers stolen from them, and out for revenge. She's strange because she hears God for some reason, yeah. Iwai Shu. This is the boy of the group that we follow around. Shu's been my best friend since forever. He's my partner. We've been having playdates for as long as I can remember. We played make-believe Space Wars. We'd call each other partner, and for some reason it just kind of stuck. Kids of the Showa era tend to look down on the other sex, but never Shu. When I rebelled against my parents because they told me to act like a girl, he was the one who understood my feelings the most and stood by me. Shu's always had a vast knowledge of plants and flowers, so his nickname came to be Professor Horticulture. He has so many aspirations for his future. He wants to be a gardener, herbalist, Matsutake farmer, and a member of the Space Army. Shu comes from a long line of pharmacists, with his grandmother still working as one. Following the war, a town doctor was finally able to open an actual practice. Before that, the Iwais were said to have been stand-in doctors. As Shu was a grandma's boy, he spent a lot of time learning about various types of plants, flowers, and medicinal herbs. It seemed to have sparked his interest in medicine, which eventually led to him learning first aid. It seems that he was interested in learning first aid because of his family lineage as pharmacists, and to fulfill his duty of being a member of the Space Army. And this is the last girl of the group, Rinko Nishida. One of my friends. It looks like we got to do a page for her too. She's really put together, but can be a little inflexible in how she does things sometimes. Once she's set her mind to something, that's it. And recently, that something seems to be clothes, fashion, and other womanly pursuits. Rinko once confessed to me that she had a crush on Shu. I told her that I was all for it, but if she can't get used to the idea of rolling around in the dirt and catching insects for fun, she might have a tough time. In the new page, Rinko is earnest and works really hard, but she also tends to get a little too caught up in her own ways of seeing things. Once she's come to a conclusion in her head, it can be like pulling teeth to convince her otherwise. Although we're the best of friends now, we've had 2 or 3 huge fights in the past that ended with us not speaking to each other for weeks and weeks. I'm sure we'll end up fighting again in the future, but even if we do, I know we'll be able to make up again. That's interesting that she considers Rinko to be her best friend, because you saw that look that Rinko gave her on the stairs before she fell down the stairs. Rinko does not like Hinako at all. And I imagine it's because of Shu. And Fox Mask is the entity that we interact with in the other world. A mysterious man who wears a fox mask. He never takes it off, so I feel like we have to see his true self. He has such a refined air about him. I think he must come from a very well-off family. Whatever reason, he seems to know me well and treats me kindly. He's almost like a prince from a fairy tale. In fact, this whole situation is like a story from a book. Who are you? And why are you leading me down this path? Drama. Drama, yeah. Teen drama, man. It's all teen drama. Holy shit, okay. I don't really want to kill us, if I'm being honest. It's a waste of us. Yeah, I'm just gonna run. I'm dumping into this house. Bye-bye. I don't want to break my fucking pipe already. We'll just leave it locked in there. We got what we wanted. Trip me, bestie. Yeah. But like I said earlier, the girls in this group, at least Rinko and Hinako here, they seem to be friends out of circumstance because of Shu. I don't know if they're really friends. It's really hard to say. Rinko doesn't like Hinako at all. He said bye, yeah.
相棒妙な化け物が増えてる気がしないか
お前の宇宙戦争だって妙な宇宙人がどんどん増えてっただろうが。
ひなこってしゅうくんと話すときは男の子みたいな喋り方だよね。
昔の癖が今も抜けないからかな。
俺たちは幼い頃からの付き合いだからな。
ふーん。だから男女の関係にはならなかったってわけ。
今はそんな話をしてる時じゃないぞ。
Jesus, Rinko. Can you be any more on the nose? Bitch. And they're gone. The fog is another page for Space Wars. Space Wars wasn't just about fighting evil with laser guns, though. We pretend to analyze the enemy by drawing alien sketches. During PE, we'd say that the class was a training camp for the Space Army. I think we played with dolls too. Right. I think that's when we were training in first aid in order to assist the injured. Bring up high school trauma, yeah. These goddamn teenagers. Okay, I got this comb. I'm gonna sell that. No Emma's for stats, but I can... Sanity's max. Okay, we can just save my faith for now. Head to Shu's house. And I also have the key to Sakuko's mailbox. I'm pretty sure I passed that earlier, and I don't remember where though. Somewhere in the town. Okay, this is Sakuko's house. Okay. I'm understanding the map a little bit better. So left, right, okay. Astaway came out in 1983. It's very likely referring to Astaway. Oh, that's right, yeah. I had a sibling who was really into Astaway when we were kids. Okay, this sucks. A lot of those dolls wandering around. My resources are not... My resources are very limited, so... Shit. Excuse me. Best dude. Okay. We go this way. Oh, you... In this game, you are not equipped to kill everything. I want to go to... So... Chu's house is not down there. Chu's house is going to be up here somewhere, right? I imagine. I'd like to get to Sakuko's house and open that mailbox. So. Ah, here's Shu. Shu? Rico. Can I get to... No, I can't. It's a dead end. Okay. Wait, no, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it fucking is. Goddamn. Rico? Damn, those spider lilies are all over the fucking place now. And there's dolls. The fresh hope from post-World War II eyes during heavy American occupation, such a magic for kids. Yeah. Oh, those big boys again. Time's up.
何あれやだ気持ち悪い
あいつらまさか気持ち悪いので街を飲み込む気なのか
化け物が
Boomer! Boomer!
迂回しよう街を突っ切るのは危険すぎる
私たちの千鶴やどうしてこんな
中学校の方へ向かってその
Middle school. Thank you for the tube. Yes, I need that.
遠回りになるが
My cardboard tube.
街を避けられる
I'll show them the power of a VTuber.
行こう
And they're gone. Now, while they're gone, I still want to go get that mailbox open. Middle school. This is the middle school that I attended. It was built when the town was financially well off during the dam construction, so the beautiful facilities are at odds with the rest of the adult buildings in town. I think I met Rinko during my first year here. I remember her surprise that she heard that I called Shu partner. You talk kind of manly when you talk to Shu. Fuck out of here, Rinko. Oh, that hurt. Okay. Now, there is a path, is there not? I suppose there's not. This sucks. Okay. Oh my goodness, yeah, the path is not there anymore. I went the wrong way. Okay. Well, there's no getting to Sakuga's house then, in that case. So fuck it. I need to pop pills. My Flintstones vitamins. I'm assuming the school's down there. Let's fucking save. We'll go see the school, and then I think I'm gonna call it for the night. How the fuck do I get down there? I guess this way. This way was blocked off last time, right? I got knocked over. Oh, it's not blocked off anymore. Okay. Something very big had its way with that truck. Catch up with Shu and Rico. So sometimes there's items at the end of these dead ends. Nothing. Oh. Farmer's story. Son, you better read this and get it through your thick head. Let me take you back to something that happened during the war. One day, some high and mighty military police from out of town got pissed drunk and decided to kick over a statue of Inari-sama, even spat on it. The next morning, all those policemen were found dead in the waterway, their corpses bloated and heavy as hell. They got carted off to the medical examiner's office so the coroner could take a look. You know, that place a few minutes from us. I was one of the people who helped carry the bodies and wash them, so I saw everything with my own 2 eyes. When that doctor put his knife to their bellies and opened them up, a whole swamp of stomach-churning gunk came pouring out. And I don't mean their guts either. From neck to navel, hell, even right up their asses. Those bodies were stuffed full of decomposing rats, birds, frogs, snakes, you name it. Jesus Christ, man. And that look of frozen terror on their faces. I'll never forget that. Anyway, moral of the story is that you better not ever disrespect Inari-sama in any way, even if you're drunk. Words to live by. Barbara Brown. You shove frogs and rats up their asses? Is that what did I read that right? Shit. Oh, fuck me. Okay. Uh-oh. Always left. That is a lot of dolls. I ran into a dead end. Okay, I can get them trapped here, though. Come on, come on, come on. Oh! There we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, so... It's a dead end, but there might be an item there. Any items? Any items? Items? Chocolate? Okay, okay. Oh, I don't want this shit. Nothing useful, huh? Yeah, of course. Fucking... We're doing Get rid of your butthole, dude. The fucking... You have a butthole? You're a skeleton, right? He's gonna shove a bunch of rats and frogs in you. Please tell me there's something here. Nothing useful? Of course. Okay, let's keep moving. Oh, my stamina's not happy. Save. I can't save? Okay. What a shame. Unsettling music, yeah.
今何かが飛んでったぞ。
Something flew by? The fuck is that? It sounds like it's oinking. Like a pig boss or fucking pigs? Gashi, nice. Minecraft zombie.
二人は どこに
Yeah, where the fuck did they go? Nice pills. Need those. Items? Nothing. Okay. I can't go through here. Okay. Can I drop down? I see. I think I went the wrong way. Okay. Motherfucker. That...
こっち
Oh, Rico. Wait. Ooh, ooh. Who the fuck? Items? Nothing. Holy shit! What the fuck? Oh, it's one of the golems! Gotcha! Come here, bitch. Oh, shit. Oh, that hurt. Is that pill showing? Oh, my goodness. What is it got in its filthy little fucking pockets? Is, yeah. Gotcha! Ah, if you killed him, that's how you get the journal. Update, Fogtown. A particularly suspicious monster that walks around on all fours. The greedily staring eyes, the greasy palms, the disgusting way it acts all chummy with you. All of it is completely repulsive. What's more, it never even bothers with guys. Typical. Damn. She's got a point, you know. Oh, those things too, the dolls. A bizarre monster looks like a bunch of celluloid dolls intertwined. Each of these dolls is most likely some child's best friend. To think that it would appear like this in my nightmare. A pervert monster, yeah. Oh, and Sakuko's monster form. Monster in the form of Miko, or Shrine Maiden. It sounds just like Sakuko. It swings around a spiked mason chain. With each swing, the crisp chime of a bell rings out. Is this actually Sakuko, or is it just a monster pretending to be her? A question for the ages. Ah, a comb. I'm gonna eat this last pill, and then I'll grab the comb.
これって
There we go.
お供え物
Oh, fuck. That didn't scare me. That didn't scare me at all. Hi. What? Oh, okay. Go through the house. Yes. It's gotten into the house? What's gotten into the house? Oh, fuck. I think I found it. Kitchen knife. Light knife for slicing meat and fish. It's easy to use. It's frail, so I need to handle it with care. This is something. Bitch. I hit the fucking wall, of course. Didn't hit it that time. Chocolate. What is clicking? Bandages, nice. Aurora, I don't want those. Step back, girls. This calls for a real Showa man. The hot-blooded baseball samurai steps up to the plate. A baseball samurai. It's not a Silent Hill game. Unless there's a clicking radio. We're lost. Who is that? It almost sounds like the Fox Mask. You know that, right? Immunate. Okay, so... That would actually take me back to the store. Appeal to worth, yeah. Even Inari is not above, manipulation tactics. Oh, someone had a bad day here. Ashi, nice. Nothing here, okay. Okay. Oh my, what the fuck? What's it doing? One more. This thing is very tanky. Okay, I have another pipe at least. What is it doing? Oh, it spawns that shit. Okay, I see. Okay, alright. Oh, God. I'll do that shit. Come here. God damn it, it's fucking tanky. Okay, he's dead. Those are the things that were screaming at me in the other world, right? It's just taking a nap, yeah. Permanently now. Okay, there's a window out, but... Ooh. Okay, there's nothing down here. I actually have a... Okay, right? Yeah, okay. So far, the pipe is the best weapon other than Naginata. Okay. A face, 2 faces, 3 faces, 4. A monster with a thronging mask of faces. I'm not familiar with any of the faces, yet they seem to know me. It spouts repulsive things one after the other, violating the peace and quiet of where it goes. That's the right way, so what's this way? Give up on Hanako. At this point, you can't help. Is Rinko already trying to turn Shu against me? That bitch. He's suffering. It's tonsil monster, yeah. That monster is known as tonsillitis in the medical community. There's a save thing over here, right? Got this comb, so that... Alright. No Emma, though, to get a buff, so... I could draw another charm, but nah. What was like a god charm, like a really strong one. Okay, so... I suppose this is the way I'm supposed to go, right? That's where the voices are coming from, is this way. Yep.
嘘ついてるよね。
知らねえよ。
騙せてると思う？ひなこを。
ひなこ、遅かったな。心配したぜ。
心配してなかったよ。相棒なら絶対に大丈夫って言ってた。
そうか。ありがとう。
Don't trust Rinko. Don't trust Fox Mask. Oh, don't even trust Shu. I still think Rinko pushed her down the stairs. The fuck? I just saw it go around that corner. Okay, so that's the way to the school. I gotcha. There's not going to be a way to Sakuko's house, though, is there? Yeah, this is all fucking okay. Don't trust God, don't trust your friends, don't trust your boyfriend, or they can trust his pipe. That's right. All you need is pipe, man. I'm about to get fucking jumped by something. Ah, another tonsil! Oh, and a golem! Holy shit! Oh! Oh, he's glowing. He's fucking glowing. Okay, I'm just gonna... Oh! No! No, 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 no! 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 Oh, is this the end? Is this the end? Not quite. No. Second wind. Run! Run, Hinako! This might be the end. Second wind is bonus action, yeah. Let us pray. Jesus. Okay. Hinako's a fighter through and through, right? Like, come on. He's too much of a badass to be the Dex class. You can see extra attack actions. And second wind. Okay, nothing back here. Two structures. Okay, let's go this way first. Sweeping. Sweeping. What's this? What kind of shrine? It's missing its head. Nothing in there, okay. Doesn't look like there's anything. I'll loop back around and go to that other building. Ah, the bridge is up. Perfect. And of course, there's a fucking doll. Bye-bye. Bye, bitch. Left. I wonder how much that charm that decreases enemy sight. It's from the Obon Festival. It's a bit early for these. What's an Obon Festival? Will it tell me? Lantern. A type of revolving lantern that has a long history in Ebisugaoka. Evil Warden Lantern, okay. The picture silhouette rotates inside the lantern due to the air current that the candle makes. Normally, revolving lanterns are for entertainment, but the ones in Ebisugaoka were specifically used to ward off evil. In Ebisugaoka, there is a custom where women in unlucky ages hang it on their front door during Obon. Unlucky ages? And what is Obon? Another radio. It's not crackling. Nothing. Okay. Let's get to this fucking school.
そんな話今はしたくない。
やめないよ。シュウ君がしっかりと現実を見るまでやめない。
だからやめてくれ。俺は
なら言ってあげる。ひな子はね、死んだんだよ。ひな子は向こうの世界で楽しくやっているんだから。
相棒、遅かったな。さあ、行こうぜ。
Hinako. Just say that so brazenly when I'm right fucking there. Yeah, me with that fat little character. He's like, really? Right in front of my blank? Item here. Journal update. Space Wars. Not to brag, but we've taken down the enemy's mothership, the giant UFO, on many occasions. However, each time that happened, the Galactic Imperium would deploy more and more troops from their home planet. As we grew older, we were able to have a better understanding of heroes by watching television, and I think we came up with some elaborate backstories for the enemy leaders. By this time, it was a world that only Shu and I knew. Sci-fi D&D, Pathfinder. No, what's the Starfinder, right? Right in front of my codex to start using it. Okay, we'll get into this school and then we'll call it, because I'm getting a little peckish. Oh, the leg. Rinko's hitting the leg switch.
昔はなかったのに。
鍵は学校にあるはずだ。
ちょっと休憩しようよ。
There we go. And we're backed. Rinko's leg switch. It's essentially the end of the world. You're trying to convince a boy to date you, yeah. Rinko and her shitty priorities.
もうダメ。しばらく休ませ
She's
て。
just gonna sit there and fucking whine? Why did we bring her? She doesn't even have a weapon. She's dead weight.
相棒も疲れただろう。休んでてくれ。
And she's liking my game, man. Come on.
わかった。
え、シュウ君が一緒じゃないと嫌だよ。心細いよ。お願い、一緒にいて。ね。
別に俺
There we go.
一緒じゃなくても。
相棒も少し休め。鍵は私が探す。
そうだよ。シュウ君はずっと戦闘で頑張ってたんだから。後からついてくるだけだったひな子の方が余裕あるって。
おい、そんな言い方をするなよ。
私は気にしない。
Yeah, take law my ass.
二人とも休んでてくれ。行ってくる。
Hinako gets shit done. Rinko is dead weight. Shu's okay. He's a bit of an idiot though. Rinko is always asking whether Shu and I are an item. I tell her every time that we're not, but she never seems to buy it. I heard a rumor that Rinko is gossiping about me behind my back. I suppose love can tear apart even the closest of friends. I don't know what to do. Poor Hinako. There's no save spots here, hey? Nowhere obvious. Okay. This is a very old Japanese school. Very, very old. Good. Many such cases. Yeah. Ah. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, okay. I'm probably going to be in here for a while, so I would love a shrine to pray at.
卒業以来だな。
You know, when Sakuko died, it's like, oh no, one of her friends is dead. Now I'm like, man, when does Rinko die? When does she get eaten by the flowers? Oh boy, okay. So, I want to sweep the floors. We'll see, just to see if there's a save shrine somewhere, but... Is this like a gym? Ah, here's the shrine. Origami of rumors. Ha! Looks like someone heard my prayers. Whichever god who answered them, thank you. Origami. There's a custom that's said to get rid of your worries like magic. You write grievances that you can't tell anyone on a piece of paper, fold it into an origami box, and then throw it somewhere that no one else will find it. If you happen to come across someone else's origami of grievances, you can put it to rest by reading it. No matter what's written on it, you have to keep the information to yourself and not tell a single soul. It's a tradition that's been in this town for ages, but it's particularly popular with middle schoolers. Some kids would indirectly bully others by writing gossip about the people they hated, and making sure to put it in a place they would see it. I personally don't like to write bad things about people, or read them for that matter. They say that you can put those complaints to rest by reading them, so I make the effort to read them out. But to be honest, I'd rather not pick them up when I see them. Another Middle school page. Ebisagaoka used to be a lively town with an ample labor force for construction and coal mining when the school was built. The town was always bustling and the school was full of students. The students at that time studied how to further improve the town as adults. The students of our time now study so that we can leave to go to a bigger town when we're adults. Let us pray. I don't have anything to sell, right? No. Momori is 600 on the dot, huh? What do you say? We'll draw one for good luck. The bear greatly increases stun power when weapon durability is low. Oh. Well, that's your final last ditch effort. That might come in handy. Older than the school. Wealthy man built the school here and he struck it rich from dam construction. There was a lot of construction in this town. They mentioned early on in the game that they used to have a mining operation too, and then everyone started leaving. I just want to see what's back here. Dried carcass. Perfect. A perfect send-off. Get rid of this one. One more prayer to Inari. We'll say our goodbyes. Oh. Court. Okay. And that is what I'm going to call it. So say goodbye to the pink rabbit that is Hinako. Our local Japanese badass surviving in this town. Goodbye, Hinako. So good. I love this game a lot. I'm actually like surprised how much I enjoy playing this game. I think the combat specifically really subverted my expectations for, you know, the what do you call it? The parry, I guess is the best way to put it. Also, this soundtrack is sick. It's broken. But yes, that is where I'm going to call it for now. And before I say my goodbyes, I just want to go over something really fast. Give me a second here. Here we are. Yes, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the raid, Doom Guide. Have a good rest of your night. You too, Salamanders. I appreciate the follow, as well as the the gift subs from the Doom Guide and OSRS Ninja. Thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. And thank you to Deathmarks for the follow as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. I might play this again tomorrow. I haven't decided yet because I've streamed a lot this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for the follows. If you like what you see, just keep an eye out for notifications, or if you just see me online on Twitch, come and hang out, come and chat. So I love bouncing off chat. I love talking to you guys when I play these games. Now October is on the horizon, so I'll be playing a lot of I'm sorry, Darksick, the RPG command is still dead. I'll be playing a lot more horror games, especially in upcoming weeks. My current RPG I'm playing right now is the Trails in the Sky remake, so if you like the Trails series, come and keep an eye out for when I'm playing that as well. And I'll be checking out some other RPGs too. But be lots of horror in the future. I have a lot of horror games lined up, so you'll never stop me. Where's the Baldur's Gate stream? Hey, you just let me know. You get the word, and I'll be there. Continue our adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Yes. Thank you for watching, and GG's. And as always, Wanderers, take care and farewell.